Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be incredibly brief with my intro. I know that we're limited on time, and I found that every second that I use introducing our speaker is a second that you would benefit from hearing directly from our speaker. Matt Baer is the founder of Nonviolence, Inc., a nonprofit organization out of Boulder, Colorado, emphasizing teaching individuals to recognize their values and learning to connect their individual everyday choices with those values. So without further ado, Matt Baer.
All right, I've got this little mic on. Oh, you can hear me. That's cool. I spent the last couple of weeks coming up with a speech that I was going to give today. But then I had a dream last night. I had written it all down, I had outlined everything, and then I had this dream. And it reminded me that I wanted to come here and speak more from the heart, so that's what I'm going to do. The dream was really about our world in the not-too-distant future. There was no more fighting, there were no more wars, there was no more crime, no more hunger, because everybody had everything they needed. The rainforests were back, they were flourishing, and we were replanting millions of acres of trees. We'd reclaimed farmland and given it back to the wild animals that used to call that land home. And animals thought of us as protectors and friends instead of being afraid of us. Everybody was helping each other. Everybody was loving one another. And then I woke up. And now I'm here. I'm a social revolutionary. I think the world is messed up. And what I'm doing with my life and why I'm here today is because I want to shake things up and I want to find a better way to get us to all come together. And there's a remarkable way to make that happen, and it's up to all of you. Before I go too far, I want to thank Michael Pfeiffer for pulling this together. I want to thank all of you and the faculty and staff for inviting me in, whether you knew it or not, welcoming me. I appreciate that. And a special thank you to the social justice groups, the student groups that are going to be doing some outreach today. Wow, I wish I had gotten it at your age. It's fantastic that you're doing that. What excites me about that is that we've got human rights groups, animal rights group, and the environmental group working together. Maybe not on a specific project, but coming together for a day of nonviolence or a day of interconnection. And that excites me because it's the whole reason why I started Nonviolence United, helped start Nonviolence United. I don't want to take all the credit. I see the social justice movements as mountaintops. And up on this mountaintop over here, we've got the human rights activists. They're doing their thing. It might be the people working on hunger. It might be working on homelessness. You might be working on disease and poverty. You might be working on GLBTQ issues. You could be working on any number of issues. There may be a mountain range, maybe, but one mountaintop over there. Over here, we've got the environmentalists on top of their mountain. And then we've got the animal rights people on top of their mountain. And all of these activists, we learn the language and we come down and we try to work with the masses and we give them a message. And then we go back up to our mountaintops. And we see our groups as separate. I'm on my mountaintop. They're on their mountaintop. I happen to go up and down these mountaintops a lot. I work on all of them. And I would hang out with my environmentalist friends. And they would point over at my human rights friends and say, why don't they get it? And I hang out with my human rights friends, and they'd point over at my animal rights friends, and they say, oh, why don't they get it? And I'd hang out with my animal rights friends, and they point over at both of them, and why don't they get it? And I realized that we were getting nowhere fast separately, but together we could do it all. If we come down off those mountaintops, we realize that there's a foundation, the foothills, the common ground, that interconnection of all of these mountaintops. It's one movement. The days of the single issue social justice movements, human rights, animal rights, environmentalism, whatever specific mountaintop you're on, that's over. Now we have to come together in order to move forward. If we don't, we're going to get nowhere. So thank you to those social justice groups for doing what you're doing. I know it's painful stuff, opening your heart to that, and I know that some of the stuff I'll say today will be painful because just being aware in this world hurts. You in this room and the social justice groups, you're working on some of the most important issues in the history of time. History of human time, maybe. Even more than that, really, life on Earth. It's really important stuff. We've got some dire situations. We've got wars raging around the world. We've got poverty. We've got hunger. We've got horrible disease. All of these things are happening. We're polluting the air. We're fighting for resources. We're polluting our water. We're using way too much water. We're hurting animals for nothing other than taste and habit. We're doing all of these horrible, horrible things, and they can get really depressing. I know it can get really depressing. I've been there. I'm often there. That's the bad news. The good news is, it doesn't have to be this way. That should be a revelation. It doesn't have to be this way. Do you get that? You probably have tapped into some of these solutions already. Look around you. We've got solar power, wind power, we've got wave power. There's no reason to be waging war for oil or any other resources. We've got, I'm sure a lot of people in here might recycle. Maybe you buy recycled paper products. Maybe some of you are starting to tap into fair labor products, understanding that you don't want to pay for slave labor. You don't want to support that anymore. That's starting to get into the minds of people in the West now, finally. Maybe some of you are choosing to eat differently. And I bring up food. And when I say eat differently, I mean eating plant-based foods instead of eating animal-based foods. And let me just digress for 30 seconds here, because whenever I mention food, people are like, right on, yeah, recycling, yeah, right on, I buy that recycled paper. Fair labor, yeah, I can get on board with that. I can do that. Vegetarian, oh my God, crazy. Nut job, get him off the stage. Who brought this guy in? But this is, I would be remiss if I didn't mention it to you, because you won't hear it anywhere else probably. Although you are hearing it more and more. Raising animals for food is the #1 waster and user of water in the U.S. It's the #1 polluter of water in the U.S. It's the #1 reason we're tearing down our rainforests, to clear land, to grow food for farmed animals. It's the #1 reason our oceans are dying. And you know this, once our oceans are dead, the rest of us will follow. It's the #1 reason animals are being killed, of course. That's an easy one. It's the #1 reason people are starving to death. 40,000 people starved to death yesterday. Did you see that in the news? Did you read that this morning? 40,000. You didn't read it in the news because 40,000 are going to starve to death today. 40,000 are going to starve to death tomorrow. There's no reason for this. We can feed 10 times the number of people on plant-based foods than on animal-based foods. It just doesn't have to be this way. So this isn't just a club that I want you to join. It isn't just some crazy fad that's going on. I'm mentioning this because the World Health Organization is talking about this. The United Nations is talking about this. And even the environmental sweetheart, Al Gore, came out yesterday, day before, and he finally said, yeah, we need to start talking about this. Sorry that I neglected to mention that in Inconvenient Truth. Maybe we should start talking about it. So the question becomes, if all of the solutions are here, why is the world so messed up? If all the solutions are here, why is the world so messed up? Disconnection. That's the answer, disconnection. So let's get into this before my 20 minutes are up. 3 things I want you to take with you today. 3 things you're going to learn. And I know I've heard that I'm with the best and the brightest in this room. So you're going to go out of here knowing more about nonviolence and about social justice activism than most of the people in the world. Just from a few little minutes. So pay attention. First thing, connection. If you get a handle on connection, you'll get a handle on nonviolence. And believe me, I've been studying and working with groups on nonviolence for several years, and nobody gets it. Even people who have nonviolence in the title of their organizations don't necessarily get it. It's a tough crowd. But the underlying theme is connection. So understand connection. We are all interconnected. Now, this probably sounds obvious to you. It's kind of one of the cool things about nonviolence is I go, well, yeah. We are all interconnected. If you use more than your share, you're going to take from somebody else. Right? If you pollute on this side of the world, it's going to pollute that side of the world. If you use someone's water, they're not going to have water. If you pollute the air, We all breathe the same air. We're all interconnected. It's like a natural law. It's like gravity. We're all interconnected. We have to start paying attention to this. Nonviolence, the lifeblood, the life force of nonviolence is connection. It's working toward these interconnections, making sure that we're supporting one another, we're helping the environment, we are paying attention to our relationship with animals. We're all interconnected. Everything that we do, so if you're a social justice activist and you're coming down your mountaintop, you're trying to connect with someone's heart, trying to say, this is the issue that's important to me, this is why it should be important to you, and this is what you can do to actually make a difference in this situation. You're connecting people. It's all about interconnection. It'll help if you understand a little bit about violence. If the essence of nonviolence, if what nonviolence is all about is connection, the essence of violence is disconnection. All right? And disconnection can mean anything, any of those things breaking apart this natural law of interconnection. We could be hurting animals, we could be hurting people, we could be hurting the environment, we could be polluting our own air, for goodness sake. We could be polluting our water. These are the things that we need to live. We could be destroying our entire planet. We could be bombing people from 15,000 feet. It can also come down to the personal level, to all of you, in the form of advertisement, for example. I'm sure you've all seen ads. You looked into, they send them out there and they say, you're not good enough. But if you buy this today, this little thing right here today, if you buy this today, you'll be good enough. Well, until we come out with the better one, and then you won't be good enough again. You gotta have the right shampoo, you gotta have the right shirt, you gotta have the right whatever. You gotta drink the right stuff. Gotta drive the right car. You're just not good enough. Well, I'm here to tell you that you are good enough. The cool thing about nonviolence is that it's not trying to teach you, it's not trying to change you, it's trying to give you the tools to be who you really are. Not trying to change you, trying to give you the tools to be who you really are, to connect with yourself. That's connection. All right. Power. This is something that, if I would have gotten it at your age, I don't know where I'd be, but power. Power comes from above, right? From the president, from those politicians, from the CEOs, from the boss man. Right? Wrong. It comes from you. If all of you as a group decided, you know what, I'm not going to do that. Or, in the positive vein, we're all going to do this. Forget you. The power goes away. The power comes from you. It comes from below. It comes from us. It's in us, okay? So here's an example. This is kind of a young crowd, but I bet you, again, the best and the brightest here, right? So let's talk about corporations. And I'll make apologies for corporations in a minute, but corporations. How many people here think that corporations might have a little too much control in our world? Might have a little control over our politicians. Okay, almost universal hands up. When I was asking this 10 years ago, people would kind of go, yeah, maybe. And now I ask it, and they're like, oh, right on, yeah, they have too much power. Are you kidding me? Why do they have all that power? Because they have all the money in the world. They have more money than entire countries, right? They can buy countries. They can buy politicians. They can buy laws. They can buy you. It's that advertising I was talking about, right? They can buy you. So where do they get all that money? Oh, us. Crap. That's the thing about nonviolence. It's a difficult thing because we do all this finger pointing. Oh, look what you're doing, look what you're doing. And nonviolence tells you to start pointing the finger at yourself. Start figuring this out for yourself. Okay? That's power. You have it. Connection, power, happiness. Because all of this doesn't mean anything without happiness. You all just leave and say, I'm not going to live that life. Good God. Oh, that's depressing. That's too much work. Happiness. Gandhi put it this way. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Okay? Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. So the things that you think, your values, hey, yeah, I want clean water, I want clean air, I want to be kind to animals, I don't think slavery's right. Those are my values. That's what I think, but this is how I'm going to live my life. I'm going to buy all this crap from wherever. I won't say the corporations because they'll hunt me down. If you're living your life believing one way and acting another way, are you really living your whole life? No, you pull those together. It's called Living a Life Connected. It's one of the brochures that we'll have over there today. Living a life connected to your values. That's what happiness means. It's living your life wholly. All right. Connection, power, and happiness. Our challenge then is to, how much time do I have? Not much. I was going to talk a little bit about your core values. I don't want to get into it too much because I'm sure that you talk about it a lot. Not those again. I thought it was kind of cool that they come together with this, with connection. You've got the wisdom to connect to yourself, and you've got the world community. With power, you've got integrity, because integrity is what you do no matter what the social pressures are. You've got to have those, and respect, because you're going to respect the people, the planet, and the animals. And the last piece is the personal growth, that happiness, because this is a lifelong path. You're not going to get there tomorrow. You're not going to get there today, flip this switch. You got to work at it. A lot of you are going to leave here today and go, yeah, right on, that's great, yeah, uh-huh. And then by lunchtime, or by tomorrow, or by next week, you're going to back to whatever you're doing, buying from the same places you're buying from, doing the same thing you're doing, thinking the same thing you're doing. You got to work on this. It's like a martial art. So our challenge then is to connect to our inner wisdom, to our talents. Everybody in here has a special talent. Wisdom means something much different than intelligence. I'm sure there's a lot more wisdom in some of the people in this room than some of the medical doctors and PhDs that I work with all the time. No offense. I know they're videotaping this and they're going to watch it. So now they're going, oh, you mean me? No, not you. Everybody else. So tap into your wisdom, into your values, and then really look at your life. Seriously, look at your life and figure out, is it connected to my values? Is the way that I'm living it connected to my values? Am I living a life connected? That's our challenge, both as students and as teachers. The question I get is, well, really? Can one person really make a difference? Little old me, can I really make a difference? There's so many people in the world. What I do doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep doing it. You guys over there, I'm glad you got your club. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Can one person really make a difference? That's not the question. You are making a difference. The question isn't whether or not you can make a difference. You are making a difference. You have an impact on this world, and it's an important impact. So the question isn't whether or not you can make the difference. It's what kind of difference do you want to make? We can build a world reflective of our values only if we make decisions connected to our values. Each of our choices in the past help build the world we live in today. And each of our choices from this minute forward are going to build the world of tomorrow. I'm saying there's a way to build a better world. A world reflective of our shared values of kindness, justice, and compassion for other people, for the planet, and for the animals. Live your life connected. Live your values. Change the world. It's that simple. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys.